If your patients are always dropping off after 3 or 4 sessions, you're not able to retain your coaching clients, or you just seem to always face early drop-off in your health programs, then I made this video exactly for you. On this video, I'm going to show you the exact script I use to quickly qualify my leads into either short-term or long-term treatment plans so everyone is on the same page. I'm also going to show you exactly why it works so you can adapt this for yourself in the future. But before we begin, my name's Phil. I'm a health sales and business architect, and I've been selling health products and services for the last decade. My health clients do over 200K a year each as health professionals, and I want to help you do the same. Now let's get to the video. So first, let me talk about the timing of this script. Most health professionals make the mistake of jumping into the treatment plan with the assumption that their patients are going to rebook or want a full course of rehab. Now the truth is, most patients don't even know how much rehab they're going to need, and it's not their fault, especially if you haven't told them how much it's going to take. Some patients think they'll get better in 1 or 2 sessions, when in reality, they'll need 8 to 10 weeks. It's much better to get that out in the clear so everyone is on the same page and you can work with clarity. So when we approach your script, it's not about trying to retain patients as much as it is about fully educating the patient on what proper rehab looks like and then giving them the choice to decide whether that's something that they want. That way, the patient isn't going to have mismatched expectations with you. You know exactly what you can realistically provide, even if it's not the ideal outcome. At the very least, they're aware that it's not the ideal outcome and you've done your job. Timing wise, I would use this script after you've got a very clear picture of their condition or problem. And here's exactly what I would say. Okay, Phil, based off your condition, we separate your rehab into 3 stages. The first stage takes anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, and our main goal here is to minimize pain and get you back to full movement. Patients who stop here are mostly pain-free, but if they don't build their strength up again, they'll usually re-injure in the next 6 to 8 weeks. The second stage takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, and our main goal here is to rebuild your strength better than where it was before, and those who finish up here are pain-free and can return to their daily activities without problem as long as they maintain the exercise program independently. Now, stage 3 is where we focus on maximum prevention, and this is where we work on getting you the last 10% that will not only prevent injury, but also improve your day-to-day performance. Those who finish up here usually have a preference for very active lifestyles and they're the least likely to get re-injured. Now, out of these 3 stages, where would you like me to take you to? Now, if the patient says stage 1, you will say, okay, no problem. So you're happy for us to finish at stage 1, where you'll be mostly pain-free, but you're not interested in building your strength back up with us, which might lead to a relapse in injury. Is that okay with you? If they say yes, then cool, just do your job and do stage 1. If they say stage 2 or stage 3, repeat the outcomes of each stage and wait for their confirmation. And because with stage 2 and stage 3, you don't really need to confirm the risk because it's going to be mostly a good outcome anyway. Now, sometimes people actually change their mind halfway through and opt in for longer treatment times because you've impressed them with your product and service so much that they'd rather do it correctly. But the most important thing here is you set the tone and expectation from the very first session. Now everyone's on the same page and you won't get those weird drop-offs at like session 3 or session 4. Now let's analyze the script and see why it works so well. Okay, Phil, based off your condition, we separate your rehab into 3 stages. So this is more of a prime. And I call it a prime because now they're being told that it's not just one process, it's actually 3 processes, and we're going to tell them what that is. The first stage takes anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, and our main goal here is to minimize pain and get you back to full movement. And so I say 2 to 3 weeks because that's roughly the time frame for most acute care, and the goals are very clear. It's minimize pain is the goal, and to get you back to full movement. So notice how I don't talk about exercise, I don't talk about sport, I don't talk about the things that are necessary for full rehab. I just talk about this stage's outcome. Patients who stop here are mostly pain-free, but if they don't build their strength back up again, they'll usually re-injure in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So here I say they're mostly pain-free because that is the outcome, right? So that's the pain outcome. But if they don't build their strength up again, they'll usually re-injure in the next 6 to 8 weeks. This is just risk education. And this is not fear-mongering if it's true. I'm not saying they're going to break their body apart. I'm not saying they're going to be in pain forever. I'm not saying it's going to be chronic, irreversible. But what I am saying is if you don't do the strength, then you'll most likely re-injure within the next 2 months. And it's up to you whether you want to do that. So this makes the patient feel like, oh, okay, so at the end of stage 1, this is what happens. So what happens in stage 2? Now, the second stage takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. And our main goal here is to rebuild your strength better than where it was before. And those who finish up here are pain-free and can return to their daily activities without problem. So here, anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks on top. So now they have a time expectation as to how long just being pain-free with movements without a chance of relapse is going to be. And our main goal here is to build your strength better So this is the exercise component. So you know how a lot of patients are like, oh, I don't want to do exercise. Well, in stage 2, you tell them we're going to build your strength. And those who finish up here are pain-free, which is great. That's an outcome. So they're like, yeah, I'm going to be pain-free and can return to their daily activities without problem. Notice here how I still haven't mentioned any sport because this is more function related, right? Day to day. As long as they maintain their exercise program independently. So here I'm putting accountability to them. So basically here, what I'm saying to them is, look, if you get past this stage, you're going to be basically pain-free as long as you manage this on your own, right? And then stage 3 is where we focus on maximum prevention. So that's the value here, max prevention, right? So people are like, oh, so for the most extensive rehab, it's stage 3. And this is where we work on getting you the last 10% that will not only prevent injury, but also improve your day-to-day performance. So why I put in the last 10% here is because that is actually what happens. We don't do the majority of our rehab in the last stage. We do the 1%ers, the speeds, the exercise related activities, the change of direction. We do all those things in stage 3, which is the last 10%, but it also sets the expectation that this is only for people who are looking for that edge. And it will not only prevent injury, but also improve your day-to-day performance. So this is not only about preventing injury anymore, which is a lot of stage 2. This is actually about making you perform better. Now, those who finish up here usually have a preference for very active lifestyles. Now, this is what I call third-party labeling. I've told them that people who finish stage 3, they pretty much value a very active lifestyle. And I'm not saying you value active lifestyle. I'm saying that they value an active lifestyle. So if the patient in front of you is a very active person, they'll most likely hear that and go, oh, well, that's me. Do I want the extra 10% to get back to everything I'm doing? If they are that person, they'll say, okay, that's probably going to be me. So after I say all that spiel, I then go into, out of these 3 stages, where would you like me to take you to? Now, this is an open-ended question. Now, why is this an open-ended question? Because what we want the patient to do is to decide, because that gives us the illusion of control. And I call it the illusion of control, but really it is a sense of control, because now I've educated you on each stage, pros and cons. You just have to tell me what you want. Now, if the patient says stage 1, we will say, okay, no problem. If you're happy for us to finish at stage 1, you'll be mostly pain-free, but you're not interested in building your strength back up, which might lead to a relapse in injury. Is that okay with you? And this is what I call the insurance clause. Because when you go to an insurance company and they talk to you about cancelling the policy, they'll always tell you the risk involved with cancelling your insurance, which is like you're liable for up to $10 million in damages. And the goal of them sharing the information with you is so you get a little bit scared and then you stay on the policy. But we're just going to adapt that to legitimately what happens if you don't do your full course of rehab, which is if you don't build your strength back up, that's the risk. You might have a relapse in injury. Is that okay with you? This confirmation is very, very important because you don't want them to then say, oh, but you never told me that I was going to get a relapse if I didn't do my strength work. You want them to be like, okay, I'm happy for that risk. Just get me to stage 1. So that's why we include that in the script, because we want to put it on them and we detach ourselves from the outcome. Now, if they say, cool, yes, then just do stage 1, like I said, and then repeat the same for stage 2 and stage 3. Now, as a bonus, if your patient says they'd like stage 1 and stage 2, what you want to do is when they are reaching the conclusion of that stage, you need to proactively mention it to them and outline what you would do if you were to progress to the next stage and then throw it back to them. For example, I might say, okay, Phil, based off your goals of reaching stage 1, you're basically there. And if we were to continue, the next step would be to strengthen your shoulder with more TheraBand and dumbbell work so you have less feelings of looseness in the shoulder. Or if you want to stop here and you can do it at home, what would you like to do? And that's it. If they say, I want to go on my own, then you just say, okay, well, I wish you well. See you later. If they say, let's continue, then you just continue on to stage 2. All you have to do is ask. Okay? And the reason why you want to be proactive in this is because by saying you're basically there and the next step would be to strengthen your shoulder with more TheraBand and dumbbell work, you're basically saying, okay, here's the map so there's clarity for the patient if they were to continue. And then you also ask them, what would you like to do? So this is the 100% confirmation. And sometimes you just need to put people on the spot a little bit so that they'll tell you exactly how they're feeling. And that's it. So to recap, if you find your patients are dropping off after 3 sessions or they're just not following through with your programs, here's what you do. Always set the expectation from the very first session that you are going to get them to a certain outcome. Use this framework script to educate them on the risks of stopping early and throw it back to them so they can choose. Whatever they decide, do your best to get them to that stage and then with agreement, either discharge or progress them onto the next stage. And that's it for how to stop the initial 3 to 4 patient drop off. Before you go, if you want to chat about building your health business or you'd like to see more of my products, just check the description box below. Thanks for watching. Bye.